So my name is Garrett Gee. It's still not up? All right, it's warming up. My name is Garrett Gee. That's how you spell my name, with an @ symbol, Garrettgee. If you want to spell it differently, you can put 3 W's before it, spell it garrettgee.me. Coincidentally, also my personal website. Before we get into too much, I'm going to introduce you guys to my mobile app. This is my app. It's called Scan. If you go into the App Store and search Scan, whether you're on Android, Windows, or an iPhone, iPad, any iOS product, you'll be able to find my app, Scan. Download it. It's a cool app. Change your life for the better. But I wanted to say, if anybody in here rates my app with a 5 stars, I'll just thank you however I can. Anyway, so just consider it. It'll help me, and I will help you. I don't even know how much that is, but doesn't it look cool with the whole thing wrapped around it? That's cool. Okay. That's my app. Scan it. At the end, I'm going to ask you if you raise it. We'll just work something out with that. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to show you just the quick timeline. Maybe it'll take only 10 minutes. I can go from the timeline way back, way back to the time when I was still going to class, when I still attended class. That's where we're going to start. And then we're going to work our way down. And then you guys can ask questions like, oh, what about this stage? Because that was the biggest thing for me. When I was sitting in this class my first year, I remember people would be like, and then we built an app. And I'd be like, wait, what do you mean you built an app? Oh, well, we coded an app. What's that mean? I don't even know how to code an app. Or what's it mean to design an app? What's it mean to launch an app? Just little things that people would act like, oh, it's no big deal. We did this, then we did this, then we did this. So I'll let you guys, because I'm here for you, I'll let you guys interject your questions where you want to in this timeline, okay? So go back 3 years. I still attended class. Then I had the idea for Scan. I saw my first QR code. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a cool technology, but I didn't like the products. I didn't like the websites that used QR codes. I didn't like the apps that scanned QR codes. And as a designer, I thought I could do a better job. That was my idea, pretty basic. Then, because I couldn't take that idea and bring it to life, that really frustrated me. So I started to learn and teach myself marketable skills. I learned how to design and I learned how to code so that I could build my own websites and build my own app. Then I knew I couldn't do this alone, and I kind of didn't really even want to do it alone. I thought it'd be better with having buddies along for the ride, and so I teamed up with 2 other BYU students, one named Ben Turley and one named Kirk Wiemet. At the time I was a freshman, I think they were both seniors, and they were kind of known as the best of the best on campus. One was a mobile developer, one was a web engineer, and then I was a designer, so in my mind it was a perfect match in heaven. So I started to try to woo them and convince them to team up with me to build Scan. So we did. We worked really hard for a few months, and then we launched version 1 of Scan, which was a very basic app that scanned QR codes, and then a website where anybody could generate their own custom QR code. Very simple stuff. Anyways, we launched that, and quite quickly, about within 3 months, it grew to its first 1 million users. We thought that was insane. We did not predict that it would be quite that popular so quickly. But the moment we passed 1 million downloads, we started to get hit up by investors. It was almost like they had a sensor waiting for any product to pass that 1 million user mark, and then it was like blood in the shark-infested waters, and they started reaching out to us, calling us, emailing us. I, still being a young, naive student, didn't know what investors were or what they did, but I had seen the TV show Shark Tank. And if you've seen that, those sharks are jerks, right? And so I didn't want to work with investors, and so when they would call me or email me, I just wouldn't get back to them. I wouldn't return a phone call, I wouldn't respond to any emails until Google contacted us, and I knew Google's name, and they were really cool. I think they suspected that I was young and naive, and so they didn't pitch me about hey, we're best at business and this reason, complicated reasons. They played down to my level hey, you and your buddies want a free trip to San Francisco? Yeah, okay. And so they met with us. Well, that meeting was again, knowing that my only knowledge of investors was what I had seen on Shark Tank, that first meeting was a big mess. But I got better and I got better, and I met with more investors, and those investors connected me to their friends, until out of the blue, randomly, a young boy from Provo was pitching his idea to the likes of Ashton Kutcher, Lady Gaga, Scooter Braun, and other peeps like that. My friends didn't believe me at the time. I can remember one experience particularly where I was on the way to a soccer game, like nudging my buddy, like, I just got an email from Ashton Kutcher, and he's like, no way, like, you're full of it. And I was like, no, I'm serious, it's right here. And he's like, let me see. And you pull up, and he has kind of like an ambiguous alias email. It's Mr. K at whatever, you know, or Mr. A, actually. Anyways, I'm like, that's him. And he's like, really? Where's his name? And I was like, I promise, it's him. Anyways, here I was meeting with these awesome people, and it turned out for the better. We ended up receiving $1.7 million for a percentage of our company, and that was about 6 to 8 months later into building this product, and so about a year and a half ago from today. Anyways, when that happened, boom, dropped out of school, left the soccer team, moved to San Francisco, got a cool apartment with my wife and I downtown. We got a really sweet office. There was a gym and a hot tub on the roof right downtown Union Square, if you know San Francisco area very well. Really awesome. We got these cool, like, ottoman, is that what's in front of a couch? We got an ottoman that like folds out into beds, and we had them all over the office. And so if we're working, I'm tired, fold out the ottoman, take a nap, wake up the next morning, keep working. It was really cool, just basically hacker house environment where we could work nonstop on our product, and it worked really well for us. We were able to grow our 1 million users to 10 million users. And again, the business was going well, and we thought, let's do the whole investor thing again. Let's go out and try to get more money from investors. So my co-founder, Kirk Wiemet, he's kind of the money-minded guy within the team, and he challenged me. He said, I bet you can't get $3 million within 30 days. Anyways, being competitive, I took him on and tried to raise $3 million in 30 days. And immediately, I started taking about 8 to 10 meetings a day with investors, all up and down Silicon Valley, until I got a phone call from a group in London saying, we'd like to offer you $5 million. Would you be willing to come to London? And going back to us being a little bit naive, a little bit young, I said, is it a free trip, and can I take my co-founders? And they said, yes. I said, all right, let's take a meeting. So we found out that one of my co-founders had never left the country, didn't know you needed a passport. So he had to stay behind, poor Kirk. And me and Ben, we went to London. And it was like the 30th day of this bet, basically. Anyways, we had 24 hours in London. I knew we had to close the deal. And we ended up negotiating hardcore for the whole time we were there in London. And it ended up that we raised $7 million from them. And we were able to land it within the 30 days that my co-founder had challenged me. Anyways, when we had that, I decided this is good. What do we want to do next? I think I want to return to my homeland of Utah. I reapplied to BYU, which is not easy when you have a 1.6 GPA. I retried out for the soccer team, and then we moved our office, or we always kept our office in Provo, but we moved back into our Provo office, and that's where we currently run the company from. Oh, and there's one more dot. And then last Friday night, we were on the TV show Shark Tank. So there's 10 minutes of the last 3 years of my life, in a messy little package for you. But like I said, I'm just here in any way possible to hopefully benefit you. I, being somewhere around our same age as you guys, I don't feel experienced enough, or I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like I can be giving you guys advice, but if there's something within here that you think would be helpful to you, I would love to talk to you more about it and tell you more about it. So first.
What was your belief in being able to make this happen and everything when considering that there are thousands of other companies that have way more resources, way more talented programmers that can probably do something better? How were you able to pull that off?
That's a good question. So I'm going to repeat it since it's being filmed. Maybe that'll help. The question is, why were you foolish enough to believe that you could do something that a lot of other people were trying to do? And amongst those other people were some really legit companies, bigger companies, a lot bigger than 3 boys in a dorm room at BYU, right? So I think first off, just to kind of preface it, I think anytime somebody does anything great, there's a certain level of foolishness, right? You look at any great achievement. Let's just take a typical one of the light bulb. Who was the crazy inventor who thought, I'm going to walk into a room, flip a switch, and there's going to be light? People before that happened called it foolish. It was definitely irrational thinking, but here we are today like it's an everyday thing. And so that's just kind of the mindset that I think is necessary anytime you're going to embark on something. But it was true. We were not the first scanning app or the first website to create QR codes. Like I said, there were maybe at the time 300 apps and then thousands of websites doing something similar. But I just didn't think they were simple enough to use. And so that was just the key niche. I thought, you know what, I'm going to make something a little bit better, a little more beautiful, and it's going to do better. I've had this opinion with a few things. Like if you've ever shopped at Gap, I think their t-shirts are too wide. I am foolish enough to think I could make a better fitting t-shirt and beat Gap. And it was kind of the same thing with the scanning app, right? So I'm like, I'm going to make it a little bit faster, a little more simple, and it's going to do better. And so we put it into the App Store. It was in 300th place when we first put it in, and we saw it as it just slowly raised to the top. Even now, like if our current app, which is now paid, we charge $199 for it, and it's in the top 50 apps, paid apps in the entire world. That still just kind of shocks me. I still don't believe that because there's so many big companies just throwing a ton of employees and money trying to get in those spots. Like, why are we young guys from Provo, Utah, able to do that? Anyways, it hasn't stopped. Like now, what was 300 apps doing something similar to us? Somebody tweeted this at me. There's about 3,776 scanning apps currently in the App Store. So that's our competition. Anyways, the last thing I'll say to that is, that's why I think it's important if you're going to get into business or really whatever you're going to do with your life, do something you're passionate about because that's what you're going to be best at. If you're wanting to get into the t-shirt business and you're not passionate about t-shirts, some other young punk who is passionate about t-shirts is going to get in and he's going to stay up later, he's going to work harder, and he's just going to have that special knack for that business because it's his passion. So if you want to give yourself a better chance in life, follow your passion. That was a good question, thanks. Uh-huh.
What made you switch to a paid app? I remember last year you explained your business model and it's free and everything.
Okay, camera's on. So this is what happened. The app was always free. We grew it to 50 million users. It's cool to have an app being used by 50 million people around the world, but my wallet didn't think so because that 50 million people was worth $0 for us, right? It was a free app. The idea was we're going to make money on the website because then businesses will come to the website, create their custom QR codes, and pay us a fee to create the code or host the code. And if they're using codes to make transactions, then we'll get a sliver or percentage of every transaction. That was the business model and still is the business model. However, we decided, why not, let's keep swinging for the fences. Why not try to make our app paid? We'll duplicate the app so that we still have a free app, right? So there's still a free version of my app that you can go and download for free. But let's duplicate it, make a better version that's worth paying for, and see what happens. Anyways, so that was just kind of the premise for it. The only other thing I'll say is there was a moment where me, Ben, and Kirk were in a hotel room, and it was... And we had never talked about making the app paid. That was like taboo in our company. Like we would never dare to do that. Anyways, Kirk literally stood on the bed and said, "We have been generous for far too long." And me and Ben are just like, what's going on? What is he talking about? And that's when he went on this big rant about, let's make our app paid. And he's like, Garrett, which of our apps do you love the least? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, Windows? Okay, because Windows is our least popular app, right, platform. And he's like, okay. And I was like, oh, what is he doing? Anyways, within an hour, he had switched our Windows app to a paid app. And he's like, I'm going to throw it under the bus. It'll just be an experiment. If it goes horribly, then we'll back away and never think about that taboo topic again. Anyways, within maybe 2-3 weeks after that, it moved into the #1 paid app in the entire world on the Windows platform. This is a good sign, so we just kept going from there. And this is all, that happened like 3-4 weeks ago. So again, this is a learning experience. We're just trying to put food on the table, and I think a paid app will help do that, right? Thanks for that question. Next. Yes?
Tell us more about your experience learning to code. How long did that take, and how good are you?
So two things. Well, let me think. Okay, I was going to class at BYU. I had the idea. It really bugged me that I had an idea and I couldn't build it. Like, that just killed me inside. And so I buckled down, and I learned two things, to design and to code, right? If you look at a website, those are kind of the two basic things that go into any website or app. And so first, I started learning Photoshop and Illustrator. Those are kind of the basic design programs. And then as far as coding, there's HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Those are kind of the beginning things to code. So first, I just built my own personal website. If you go to garrettgee.me, that's my personal website. And it's kind of, more importantly, like my personal playground where I can experiment things. The most recent update, I wanted to make it so it looks good on your mobile phone or your desktop computer. And if you're using it on your mobile phone and you tapped the Facebook or the Twitter or the Instagram button, I didn't want to send you to Instagram.com and make you log in. I wanted it to go directly out of my website into the Instagram app. Like, that's cool stuff. I don't know if you can name 4 other links on the whole entire internet that do that, but that was my idea, and so that was something like just how I could experiment on my own personal website. So first I built my personal website, and then when I was confident enough, I offered my services to friends and family, saying, let me build you a website, let me design you a logo, let me do anything, build an app. And then once I got confident enough with them, I wanted to start charging people. So I built my website and said, hey, I design websites, logos, do photography, like anything that anybody would be willing to pay me for. And when they would ask me, well, how much do you charge? I started by saying I charge $16 an hour. And they treated me very poorly, saying like, oh, so you're not very good. And then I was like, well, next time I charge $24 an hour. And they're still like, oh, you must be a student. And then I started charging like $60 an hour, and they were respecting me better and better. So I was just like, well, let's keep seeing how far this pattern will go. How much do you charge an hour? I charge $150 an hour. And they're like, wow, you must be good. All right, let's do this. I'm like, let's do this. Then it got to the point where I was too busy. Like, so many people need design services and coding services, such valuable talents. Like, endless work for it, and that's where the future of it's just getting bigger and bigger. So anyways, I was too busy, and I couldn't do it. It was just taking over my entire life. And so I had this syndrome, what the doctor called it yes man syndrome, where it's really hard for me to say no to opportunities. And people would be like, I want you to do this. And I was like, I can't say no, but I shouldn't say yes. Aha, I'm going to just charge you so much that you'll say no to me. Problem solved. So how much do you charge an hour? $300 an hour. You must be good. Okay. Anyways, I did that for an entire year. Like 2010 was when I started. And for a year, I think I pumped out about 50-plus websites, 70-plus logos, made some really good money. More importantly, though, I developed those skills to design and code and to then build my own idea. Important note is, as hard as I tried to learn those skills in this very high-quality, well-respected university that we all love, it's just not the environment for it. It's really hard to learn tech skills that are ever progressing in an education system. Like, nobody's fault. That's just the way it is. Maybe there will be a solution in the future. But still today, at least for me, I could never find a very good class that would teach me it. The best education came from doing my own research and putting in my own time online, because you can update stuff online very quickly. There's lynda.com, which has very good tutorials online, and there's Treehouse. I think it's teamtreehouse.com or clubtreehouse.com, one of those. Both of those are very good online sources that I use to teach myself those skills and then and get to that stage. A good question. Yeah?
So why did you go back to college?
So the question is, why did I go back to college? I'm going to answer no. Recording. I love education. I value my education. That's the thing. A lot of people, when I dropped out, are like, oh, he's another like punk entrepreneur, thinks he's too good for school. That wasn't the case. I really did love my time at I love my time at BYU. I liked the, intramural sports. I just love the social side of things. I like being in class and learning. I wish I could have had like the normal college experience. I think that it's just fun. But because I value my education, it just wasn't the right fit for me. There was no major. I'm still not in a major because there's no major that perfectly fits everything I want to learn. There will be maybe 10, 15 classes in a major, and maybe 12 of those are quality classes. But if that means I have to waste my time in 3 classes, that's a lot of time wasted, especially if you do the homework. And that just wasn't down. I just wasn't down for it. And so I would take the best classes of multiple majors. That worked out for a while. Anyways, because I was still learning even when I dropped out of school, that was all good. But what eventually happened ended up changing for me. This might ruin the screen for a little bit, but let me see. Eventually what ended up changing, oh, cool, you can still see it. Okay. I was in San Francisco, we were working really hard, and something very important happened in my life. I had these idols or people I really looked up to, kind of my heroes in the tech and business space. And I had the blessed opportunity to hang out with them. Here I was with the founders of the coolest tech companies you could think of, these millionaires and billionaires and their cool cars and their box suites at the Giants game and all these cool opportunities. And I thought wow, I want to be like you when I grow up, until I met them. And when I met them, I just saw that, no disrespect to them, but just difference in personalities. I had different values than they did. They thought I was a little crazy for already being married, and they didn't even know that we were pregnant at the time. They thought I was foolish for not just focusing 100% on my startup. Health wasn't very important to them. And here I was sitting with the most successful people in my field, thinking, I am not jealous of you. I have my health, I have my family, I have my religion. Not putting myself up above them, but it was just an eye-opener to me, I don't want to be like you, like I thought I did. I was living in San Francisco, and I would travel home and do family barbecues or hang out with my buddies that were still on the BYU soccer team, and it was crazy how much more jealous I was of my buddies living life than I were of these successful billionaires. And so anyways, that just kicked me in the face, and I was I got to stay young while I still can. So I came back to school to play soccer. It's really. So, timeline's still up. Next question. Yeah, very top in the hat.
What was it like being on Shark Tank? Was it
Okay, this one I really do need to try to be careful with. Just they have a $5 million contract hanging over my head. I got to be careful what I say as far as, it was more important before it aired. I couldn't say the outcome. Now I can say the outcome. So I'll just be a little careful as I say this. So the question was, what was it like on Shark Tank? Okay, so before Shark Tank was even Shark Tank, I got an email saying, hey, there's a new TV show on ABC. Would you like to apply for it? The reason I got that email is because I had applied to be on the show Wipeout. I really badly wanted to be on the show Wipeout. And once they have your information for any show, they spit it out to other, I was on Money Drop, any of those silly game shows, I get the emails for, hoping someday Wipeout will accept me. Not yet, but Shark Tank came through, right? Anyways, I applied for Shark Tank way back before Shark Tank, what's that, 5 years ago? And didn't get accepted. So it was kind of in a small way, a dream come true, when I got accepted to Shark Tank, because they had 38,000 companies apply online to be on the show. 38,000 companies around the world. Of that 38,000, they whittled it down, and then they accepted 150 companies to go to LA and pitch in person, but not to the sharks, to a room of producers. And if those producers liked you, then they picked you to go and actually be in front of the sharks on camera. And that was 100 companies that got to be on camera. And then of the 100 companies, they only accepted 80 to actually air on TV. So as we had made it further and further and further, I filmed in front of the sharks, and then we just had to cross our fingers hoping it would be one of the 80 picked to be on TV. Anyways, I am there in LA, about to be on stage. They had these cool trailers for us. I felt like a movie star. They took us to Sony Studios lot, and we each got like our own TV or like a movie star trailer. It had my name on it. Everyone else was like just chilling in their trailer. I was like outside taking pictures of my name on this trailer. Anyways, I talked to the person before me. I was like, so what's your company? What are you doing? What are you asking for? And he told me like, oh, we're asking for $75,000 for 20% of my company. How about you? I was like, we're asking for $1 million for 5% of the company. And so it was a little out of place. Like if you've seen the TV show, our pitch was a little out of ordinary, right? Anyways, went on. I do pretty well in like these types of situations where I'm talking about my business. It's what I eat, breathe, and sleep. I can talk about my business fine. But it's something different when you're standing in front of those wooden doors. They swing open. There's like 2 cameras right here. You're walking down that hallway. You stop on the spot. And then there's the 5 sharks giving you dirty looks like you just insulted their children, right? And so I'm standing there. And honestly, like they would ask me a question, and I'd be like, concentrate, because he just asked me about my numbers. But am I standing up straight? Am I smiling? Look at that camera. Oh my gosh, like it was really hard for me. I was quite scared. Anyways, the show aired, I can tell you. We ended up not doing a deal, and that just made me even that much more nervous because I thought, all right, they're not going to make the sharks look bad. So how are they going to edit this? Are they going to make me look horribly bad? And so while as like my company and my friends were telling everyone like watch Shark Tank, I was trying to like fool them like I don't think it's going to air. You should watch it in like 2 weeks, trying to throw them off because I was pretty embarrassed about how I thought it might come out. Anyway, who by raise of hands was able to see the episode? Cool. So having not done a deal, knowing how scared and nervous I was and how foolish I thought I was going to look, I'm pleased with the way it turned out. The people who raised their hand would probably like bump their, yeah, he looked like a fool. But at least for me, I thought it turned out all right. Anyways, and then it was fun because my company and I, we got together at one of Ben's house, and we had it up on his screen, and then below it we had a computer open showing just the traffic of our site. You know, usual traffic. Our episode aired and through the roof, right? And so that was awesome. And then the same thing for downloads, and then our app, which was ranked 50th overall, you know, just shot, or even earlier that day, it was like 150th in the App Store. Anyway, it shot up, and we ended up being the #1 paid app in the utility section. So that was really cool. But we ended up, I wanted to do a deal with one of the sharks. It would have been cool. I was trying to convince Mark Cuban to do something, but it did not pan out as far as the TV show went. So, good question. There we back. Yeah?
I'm curious, from your first launch to your first million users, what kind of marketing things did you guys do? Like, was it just simply it was out there and it just caught like wildfire?
That's a good question. So the question is, how did we market our products, specifically our app, probably, since it was the app that grew to 50 million users? So part of it was because we're young, because we're from a small town, I think naturally we're just frugal guys, and it wasn't comfortable for us to just like throw millions like in different directions and spend $100,000 on some like ad campaign and cross our fingers to hope it worked. We wanted to take things into our own hands. And so we, from the beginning, having that frugal mindset, or just, you know, naturally being that way, we had the mindset, let's build something so valuable that it'll market itself. And and it's still been that way to date. Like, we don't spend any money on marketing. But we did, like, you know, if there's a recipe on how to get your product found and make your product likable, like, we just focus on those things. And so that's why if you search into the App Store, even though there's a ton of like apps that do scanning, if you type in scan, we show up first because we executed well on the name, on the design, on the product. We have a 5-star rating, you know, just doing those things right. But yeah, as far as just straight up paying for marketing, we haven't done any of that yet to date. Good question. Yeah.
I heard about the Mark Cuban thing.
Uh-huh.
And so how do you argue the scan over the sensors?
Yeah, so in the TV show, the question is, Mark Cuban's problem with me and my product was, in a sensor-driven world, QR codes don't exist. And this is what he means by that. If I walk in using my product, I walk into Walmart and I see a product and I'm like, ooh, I want more information about that. Using Scan, I need to pull out my phone, open up Scan, scan it, and immediately I get information, right? Mark Cuban's argument is there's new technologies where I can walk into Walmart and boom, it automatically sends me information to my phone before I even have to like reach out or even know or even want to, right? Everything from like iBeacons or high-frequency sound waves that we don't hear but our phone does hear, those are like censored sensors. And he's saying that that's going to kill QR code. So if you watch the TV show, he says it, and then he pulls out of the deal. If you were a fly on the wall when I really pitched him, you would have seen a 45-minute long argument back and forth about who was right. And I went on to the show like, everybody kind of comes off as like disrespectful and kind of a jerk. I just want to be like a nice, polite student, and I'm just going to like be nice. Anyways, but then when he like challenged me, I wanted to back down and I just couldn't. And so I was like, all right, let's have this conversation. I think your way is spammy. And that, of course, got him heated. Anyways, but yeah, that's my opinion, is that it's just two different technologies, two different use cases, two different personality types. If you're the type that wants to walk into Walmart and blip, 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 your phone starts going off and it's telling you offers, like, why would I want dog food? I don't even have a dog, you know? And obviously it would get better over time. But my opinion is, for now, I will tell you if I want more information about your product, and Scan is going to make that as simple as possible. If you want information about something, scan it, boom. For example, you guys have my business card on you. If you want more information about me, scan that business card, you'll get more information. But how would you feel if you walked in and it was like, Garrett was born this year, this fact about Garrett, you know, it just started spamming you with information? It's just my personal opinion that that's not what the user wants. Anyways, Mark Cuban didn't like that I called it spammy. I didn't like that he said the QR code was dead. We talked about it kindly for 45 minutes and then moved onward. All right. Okay. Good question, though. Next. Yep, up at the top.
If you already have a free app, what kind of value are you putting in the new paid app? How did you know what value you wanted?
So to answer the second question, which I'll answer first, is how did you know what the user wanted? I think different companies have different styles on how they answer that question. What does the user want? And this is stereotyping companies, but just for the sake of answering the question, I think one way is who would be a good example of that? There's some companies that try to like do market research and do surveys and try to figure out what does the audience or public want. They get millions of responses and try to funnel those down into what they think the customer wants. That's not our style. A company that I think would be on the opposite end of the scale would be Apple, where they didn't ask people like, do you want an iPad? We didn't even know the iPad existed. Do you want an iPhone? They taught the world, like, this is what you want. This is what you will camp outside of our stores for. This is what you will go crazy for. And because we're working with newer technologies and trying to pave the way with these things, we kind of feel that we need to take that approach of let's try and not predict the future, but let's try to create the future, show the world what would be valuable to them, and sometimes we're going to be right, sometimes we're going to be wrong, and we'll base it off of that. The second question, or first question was, what's the difference between the free app and the paid app? Right now it's quite simple. The free app scans QR codes, but it does not scan barcodes, and then there's a few things in the settings and how you can switch that up, whereas the paid app, you can scan both QR codes and barcodes, and then customize the app quite a bit in the settings. Anyways, we'll always try to keep it that way, where the paid app you get 100% goodness, and in the free app you get 80%, right? But it's still, I mean, because this is just a few weeks old, the simple difference is just that.
One more question.
All right, one more question. Yes. So everything that I'm involved in, if you remember at the beginning, I said if you're going to do something you're passionate about. I'm passionate about my family. I'm passionate. Let me show you them. Since we're almost out of time, I want to make sure. So this is my wife. Her name's Jessica. And then here's my darling little girl. Her name is Dorothy 7. My soccer number 7. Her middle name is 7. She's the sweetest thing ever. Anyways, people might think like, oh, he's super busy, but like I like, to be honest, I love my life right now where I wake up and every day feels like a Saturday. Like when you were little and you'd wake up and it was Saturday, you didn't just sleep in. You woke up like, I'm going to get cartoons, I'm going to eat Cocoa Puffs. Like, there's so much I'm going to do because today's Saturday, I have no school. And that's how I feel like every day when I wake up. Like, I get to go work on my business that I love. I get to spend time with my family, whom I love. And then I have soccer practice later today, or I have a game tonight, and I love that. And so I think because I'm spending my time doing things I'm passionate about, although I might be crazy busy, I don't feel like I'm very busy. But as Professor Peter said in the intro, like, I don't sleep very much. I don't watch TV. I can't have like games on my phone, anything like that. I've just had to sacrifice good things so I could spend my time on the best things. So anyways, last thing I will say is thank you guys for being here today, and if you were kind enough to grace me with a 5-star rating. I don't know, what would be cooler? I don't even know. Should it be like, hey, everybody who rated it, come get a piece? Or would it be cooler like, raise your hand if you rated it, and then let's pick one person to get the whole piece? Anyone have an opinion on that? You have it? We'll figure it out in the Q&A. Thanks.